Happy gardening! So today I am going to repot my aloe vera. As you can see, it's already producing a second shoot, and I'm going to try to separate the two shoots if I can without destroying them. But I'm going to repot it into this larger pot, a little bit wider base, and that way I can have them separate. So first things first, I need some soil in the pot. Handy dandy scooper. And I'm going to try to keep this without making it too messy and getting it all over the table. That's why I have this plastic bag here. And I'm just going to get some soil. Now, one thing about aloe vera, I've had this plant for several years. I always forget about it because I usually keep it on the side of my tub near a window. So it gets plenty of moisture from the bathroom, but I hardly ever remember to water it, which is probably why it's drooping so much. I'm going to have to stake it, meaning I'm probably going to have to put some kind of stick or something like that to help it stand up. Now, I'm pressing the soil up against the side so I can get the plant in, and then after I get the plant in, then I'll add more soil. So again, so not to make too much of a mess, let's put this in here and let's see if I can pull. Yep, this is how dry it is, and of course I made a mess anyway. Very, very dry. Oh, it's falling apart, but look, you can see the roots are still healthy. They're just very dry. So I am going to keep the soil because I'm going to put it back in the plant. And let's see if I can separate these. Yep, this one came right off. So it would go into the second pot. Yeah, some very, very dry roots here. So it'll do much better now that I'm putting it in a pot with some fresh soil. I'm surprised it actually survived with the soil being that dry and the roots being that dry. But I'm gonna stick this in. Well, why didn't I just wet the roots? Because aloe vera plants don't like a lot of moisture. You can do well with a little bit, but if you overwater them, you will kill them. So instead of wetting the roots that way, I put some warm water into this empty water bottle, and I'm just going to add a little bit of water into the soil, and that will wet the roots that way. And now I need to figure out, do I want to stake it? Come on, this is Arthur Watson, and of course, Crypto always wants to be in the picture. He's by the bell, but I'm not thinking about Crypto right now because it is 11 degrees. The last time I was out there. Okay, so now this is what we call staking, where we use sticks, and these are just skewers that I had when I had a grill, but my grill caught on fire, so we got rid of it. But I'm going to use these skewers to give it a little bit of base support. You see it's already standing a little bit. And I actually have some thread. So I'm going to take this and use the thread to help it stand up. So, once I can find the beginning. Go. And I'm going to actually use the thread to help tie it up. And this will help stake it. Now, it's probably not going to grow that way, but we'll see. Once I put it in the sunlight, I'm going to put it back in the bathroom because of the fact that I keep forgetting to water it, but I know it's a great area because it's getting plenty of moisture help me to remember to water it. Aloe Vera plants, you can water them once a month and they'll be okay. I like to water, and I tend to overwater indoor plants. So I do much better with outdoor than I do indoor because I like to water. One more bit of string here at the top. Yes, my pathetic looking aloe vera. But this will help it grow upwards. Okay, I left the extra string on there on purpose in case I have to loosen it. I don't want it where I made it too tight and then I have to start over. So here is my handy dandy aloe vera plant. I'm going to move a little bit of the soil around the middle, and it's nice and damp because I poured that water into it. So let's add some water to it now before I add the good soil. This soil is so dry, and I poured a lot of water in there and you can't even tell. Mix it around. Try to do something with this dry soil. There we go. Now it's looking like soil instead of dry dirt. Let's see if we can get some more of this in here. I'm surprised this plant lasted as long as it did, because this soil is literally bone dry. Okay, let's add a little bit more water before I go ahead mixing it. Okay, now it's some decent soil. In fact, we're gonna add a little bit more of the good soil into here. Mix that in with the dry soil. And this one, I don't necessarily think it needs to stay. We still have a root here on the bottom, so we just need to stick it up and add enough soil on the sides that it will stand up. And because it is a smaller plant, it has a lot of room to grow. Make sure it's down in there. There we go. That's pretty good. So we'll just add a little bit of water, not too much. Again, aloe vera plants do not need a ton of water. And we're good to go. Happy gardening.